Ever think about inviting a Neanderthal to dinner? Or having a Homo erectus as your gym buddy? Well, today, let's embark on a time-traveling expedition to meet 8 mysterious human species that vanished, leaving behind little more than bones and baffling questions. So here are 6 mysterious human species that went extinct. First up, the Neanderthals. Robust, rugged, and ready for the Ice Age. They survived some tough winters in Europe and Asia, only to mysteriously disappear about 40,000 years ago. First things first, let's bust a myth. Neanderthals weren't the brutish, simple-minded cavemen we've often pictured. In fact, they were quite the opposite. Recent discoveries suggest they had a culture, made art, and even buried their dead. Speaking of art, do you know some cave paintings in Europe, once attributed solely to Homo sapiens, might actually be the work of Neanderthals? That's right, they could have been the original Picassos of the prehistoric world. Now, let's talk about their living arrangements. Neanderthals were masters of survival in harsh climates. They lived in shelters, used fire for warmth, and wore animal hides. And their diet? It wasn't just meat. These folks enjoyed a good salad too, with evidence showing plant matter in their diet. But let's address the mammoth in the room, their extinction. Why did Neanderthals disappear? Was it due to a climate change party they couldn't survive? Or did we, Homo sapiens, have a role in their exit strategy? The debate is still on. Some scientists suggest that it was a combination of environmental factors and competition with us that led to their decline. And here's a twist in the tale. Neanderthals aren't completely gone. If you're of Eurasian descent, up to 2% of your DNA might be Neanderthal. That's right, they live on in a small part within many of us. It's like carrying a piece of ancient history in our genes. Next, let's shrink down a bit and visit the hobbits or Homo floresiensis. In the lush rainforests of the Indonesian island of Flores, a discovery was made that would challenge our understanding of human history. Meet Homo floresiensis, affectionately known as the hobbits. But don't let their nickname fool you. The story of these small-statured humans is anything but a fantasy tale. Discovered in 2003 in the Liang Bua cave, these tiny humans stood about 3.5 feet tall. It's like if you shrunk your friends to the size of a kindergarten kid, but don't underestimate them. These little guys were survivors. So, what's the deal with their size? Scientists believe it's an example of island dwarfism, where species shrink in size when resources are limited. Imagine being on an island and realizing everything, including you, just got downsized. But life wasn't a beach party for Homo floresiensis. They had to deal with Komodo dragons and other predators. And their tools suggest they were skilled hunters and gatherers. It's like being in a survival video game, but in real life and with dragons. Now, how did they go extinct? Around 50,000 years ago, they vanished. Was it due to volcanic activity, climate change, or did our species play a role in their disappearance? The jury is still out on this one. 3. Denisovans, an elusive group of ancient humans who roamed Asia more than 50,000 years ago. These guys are like the phantom cousins you've heard about but never met at family reunions. First discovered in the remote Denisova cave in Siberia, these ancient humans have left us more questions than answers. Their existence came to light not through a trove of fossils, but a tiny fragment of a finger bone and a few teeth. It's astonishing how something so small can rewrite a big part of our history. But here's where it gets really interesting. They were an integral part of the human story. Genomic studies have revealed that they interbred with both Neanderthals and modern humans. That's right, if you're from East Asia, Melanesia, or even some indigenous communities in the Americas, you might have a little bit of Denisovan DNA in you. We know they make jewelry and probably art, suggesting a rich, complex culture. Imagine them living in the harsh, unforgiving landscape of Siberia, crafting tools and sharing stories around the fire. Their world might have been a blend of struggle, creativity, and resilience. So, why did they vanish? The answer is still buried in the sands of time. What we do know is that they left an indelible mark on our genetic makeup, a legacy that continues to shape humanity in ways we're just beginning to understand. 4. Homo erectus. Homo erectus, a name that echoes through the corridors of prehistory, tells a tale of endurance and adaptation, a saga spanning nearly 2 million years. They were the trailblazers, the original globetrotters of the human lineage, who first stepped out of Africa and ventured into uncharted territories of Asia and Europe. Considered the first true explorers, Homo erectus were not just survivors, they were innovators. They introduced the world to a game-changer, fire. This wasn't just about keeping warm or fending off predators. It was the dawn of social gatherings around a flickering flame, the early barbecues, if you will. Fire brought people together, and with it, the sharing of stories and knowledge began. These guys took stone tool-making to new heights. Their hand axes weren't just useful, they were crafted with a skill that bordered on artistry. These tools were their Swiss army knives, helping them to hunt, scrape, and cut their way through the world. But life for Homo erectus wasn't a walk in the park. They had to face mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and other megafauna that would make today's wildlife seem like a petting zoo. And yet they thrived, adapting to different environments, from tropical forests to chilly steppes. So what happened to them? Did they simply vanish, or did they evolve into something more, something that would eventually become us? It's a puzzle that scientists are still trying to piece together. But one thing's for sure, without Homo erectus, our story would be very different. 5. Homo heidelbergensis, an intriguing chapter in our human story, stood at the crossroads of evolution, a pivotal link between our ancient ancestors and modern form. Living around 700,000 to 200,000 years ago, they were the prototype from which later human species, including Neanderthals and perhaps even us, may have evolved. These early humans were a blend of brawn and brain. They had the robust build of their predecessors and a brain size approaching that of modern humans. This combination wasn't just for show. It was their ticket to survival in the diverse and challenging environments of Pleistocene Europe and Africa. But what truly set Homo heidelbergensis apart? Their innovation in toolmaking. They were the artisans of the Herculean tool industry, crafting tools that were not only functional but also displayed a sense of symmetry and aesthetics. These tools were more than just survival gadgets. They were the iPhones of the Stone Age. Homo heidelbergensis were also likely the first architects of the prehistoric world. Evidence suggests they built wooden shelters, turning the concept of home into a reality. 6. Last but not least, Dragon Man or Homo longi. Homo longi, a recent and startling addition to our family tree, emerges from the depths of time, challenging our understanding of human evolution. Discovered in the Harbin region of China, this species, nicknamed Dragon Man, presents a fascinating blend of ancient and modern features, reshaping the mosaic of our ancestry. Living approximately 146,000 to 296,000 years ago, Homo longi coexisted with Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. Imagine a world where multiple human species shared the landscape, each with their unique traits and lifestyles. It's like having distant cousins you never knew about, living just over the hill. Their massive skull with a brain size comparable to ours suggests a high degree of intelligence. Their robust facial features and huge teeth speak of a life adapted to harsh environmental conditions. These were not delicate beings, they were built for survival. Their discovery raises critical questions. How did they fit into the human evolutionary puzzle? Did they interact or even interbreed with our ancestors? Each answer could potentially rewrite chapters of our evolutionary story. However, like many of our ancient relatives, Homo longi eventually vanished. The reasons remain as mysterious as their lives. So, there you have it. 6 lost cousins from our human family, each with their own story, quirks, and unanswered questions. As we continue to piece together these puzzles, we realize the tapestry of human history is as diverse as it is mysterious. And who knows, maybe one day we'll find out they were all just part of an ancient witness protection program